Hi students, to cherish chemistry, we learn the facts and fate of coal. So coal is converted into coke because it is an industrially useful product, and this is known as caking or coking. And how is it done? By a process called carbonization. There are two ways by which it is carried out. One is high temperature carbonization and the other one is low temperature carbonization. And for this carbonization, there are a lot of ovens that is used. Beehive oven and Otto Hoffmann's oven is very common oven, and we'll be looking into the working of these ovens in detail. So in the Otto Hoffmann's oven, there are a lot of byproducts obtained. Therefore, we can also call it as byproduct oven. Ammonia, naphthalene. Okay, so you get a lot of byproducts in the Otto Hoffmann's oven. And why do we need this coke? Because for the manufacture of steel, we need ovens in detail. Okay, so we get coal tar, ammonia and all from this byproduct oven. And there is another form of coal known as pulverized coal. So that is powdering of coal. By means of coal mills, you powder coal, okay, and that is used in cosmetics, and for power generation we use this pulverized coal. And our coke is used for the steel manufacture. Okay, so we have a lot to study. Shall we go and study a lot?
Hi students, to cherish chemistry, today we'll be learning some interesting facts of coal. That coal will be converted into an usable form known as coke, okay, and how do we obtain that? By a process called carbonization. And the second form is powdered coal, which we obtain by pulverization. So carbonization again can be carried out by high temperature and low temperature, and again by lot of ovens. So using lot of ovens we obtain coke by means of carbonization. So we'll discuss the details of all this in our slides. So shall we go to the slideshow? Okay. Now basically we'll understand the difference between the charcoal, coal, coke and metallurgical coke. The charcoal is an incomplete burnt form of wood, right? We obtain it from wood. And coal is a mineral. So we have seen lot of details about that in our previous videos, which is obtained from the earth crust because of the deposition of plants and animals millions and millions of years ago, right? We have discussed about this in detail in our previous videos. The next one is coke. So coke is an industrially useful product, okay, from coal. We obtain it from coal. And how do we obtain it? We obtain it by calcination or dry distillation of mineral coal. And the fourth form is metallurgical coke. Again, we obtain it from coal, and that is used for the manufacture of steel. Your metallurgical coke is one of the important starting material for the manufacture of steel. Okay, so now we look into how do we obtain this coke. Yeah, so this coke is obtained from coal by a process called caking or coking. Caking or coking, okay. And when you heat it under a very high temperature, in the absence of oxygen or very less amount of oxygen, you call that process as caking. And we also have non-caking coal, okay, that is also there. But this, the hard, porous, solid form of carbon, that is coke, is obtained from caking or coking. So we'll look into the further details, that is carbonization. So what is this carbonization? It is the formation of this coke. It's a process by which you form the coke. So coke is a solid, lustrous, porous mass. Okay, it's a porous mass. You would have seen in this previous picture. See how does it look like? It's a porous mass, right? Which is obtained after destructive distillation of coal. And the process of converting this coal into coke is known as carbonization. Okay, so in this process, your coal is heated in the absence of air and at a very, very high temperature, under which all your volatile things will be left. And what you get is a lustrous, dense, porous mass, which is nothing but your coke. So this heating of coal in the absence of air to produce coke. The process is known as carbonization, and you obtain a lot of byproducts, which is also known as co-products, like benzol, naphthalene, phenol. Okay, we'll look into that when we study about the ovens. And there are two different types of carbonization. One is low temperature carbonization and the other one is high temperature carbonization. So low temperature carbonization is carried out between the temperature 500 to 700 degree Celsius, and the yield of the coke is around 75 to 80%. 80% of what we take will be converted into coke. Okay, and this is known as semi coke. The material what we obtain is known as semi coke. It is smokeless and it is soft. Okay, and the process by which we obtain is known as, one of the process is known as Carrick's process. Okay, and yeah, about Carrick's process, we obtain semi coke, and the other materials is coke oven gas. Okay, and primary tar. Okay, all those things we obtain from this Carrick's process. And demerits of your low temperature carbonization: the coke that we obtain from this method is not mechanically strong. That is, it is not that hard what you need for your manufacture of steel. It's not as hard as that. Okay, and it might pollute the air. Inconsistent quality, that will give you a lot of demerits. And co-products, the products which is obtained along with your coke, cannot be obtained, cannot be used for any other purpose. And the heat liberated by combustion is also not used. Okay, so there are a lot of demerits in your low temperature, whereas high temperature, it is carried out at a temperature around 900 to 1200 in the absence of the air, and it is used for the production of hard, strong, porous metallurgical coke. Hope you got the difference now. This is a hard, strong, porous metallurgical coke. And the byproducts what you obtain, you will obtain a lot of byproducts from this method: coal gas, coke, tar, ammonia, and all these byproducts can also be further used. Okay, yeah, but the yield, if you see, it's little less compared to the previous one. Okay, yeah, see, this is the fate of your coal. What happens? The coal is brought to the coal yard, and it is sent to a blender. It is crushed, and then it is converted into coke. Okay, and then it is by means of an oven, it is converted into coke, and then it is subject to a process called quenching. That is, you introduce water. Okay, you subject it to water, and then the power or the heat that is generated can be used for power generation and all those process. Again, you can screen it further, and you can store it as coke. Okay, so either you can use the energy, or you can store it, or you can just prepare coke and you can preserve it for further usage. So this is your fate of coal. What and all happens to the coal that is purchased, or that is taken from the earth crust. And yeah, there are in the ovens, there are a lot of ovens. We'll be just looking into two different types of oven. One is beehive oven, and the other one is byproduct oven. Okay, so beehive oven, see, you can look into the the way in which it is constructed. It looks almost like a beehive, right? And the height is height, its diameter, its capacity. Okay, so that can hold tons of coal. And first, to begin the process, air is supplied initially, and then it is cut off, and carbonization starts, and it takes place for around 2 to 3 days. Your process of conversion of coal to coke takes place around 2 to 3 days. The hot coke, the coke that is obtained after 3 days, is quenched. I showed you, remember, quenching. That is quenching with water, and it is discharged. Here, as I told you, you don't get much of byproducts in your beehive oven. Okay, merits of beehive oven. So, you get strong coke, yes, no doubt, because coal is converted in a very high temperature at a steady rate, strong coke is obtained, and the whole process happens at a very cheaper cost. So low capital and running cost. You saw the construction also. It's quite simple, and once you construct it, it can just go on, and it can be shut down without any damage to the refractory. If you want to shut down, you can just shut it down. And yeah, produces hard coke. And the construction, the methodology is simple. The way in which we can construct is very simple. You don't need any extra fuel for heating. You don't have to supply. Once it starts, it just go on. You don't need any extra fuel. Whereas demerits, yeah, you don't get any byproduct. Even if you get, that recovery of byproduct is not possible. And the yield, lower coke yield, is because of partial combustion of coal, lack of flexibility of operation, and the time taken for this conversion is around 3 days. We need to wait. Okay, so these are the demerits for a beehive oven. And the second oven, a very interesting oven, is your Otto Hoffmann's oven or byproduct oven. Otto Hoffmann's oven is otherwise known as byproduct oven. So the beehive ovens, which has been used and which is historically important, it is replaced by chamber ovens. It works on regenerative principle. That is very effective because you can save a lot of heat. Okay, and all the valuable products, all the byproducts can be recovered. So that is also an important merit of your Otto Hoffmann's oven. And construction, how does it look like and how do we construct it? It consists of narrow rectangular chambers made up of silica bricks. I'll show you that. Yeah, 1 second. Yeah, see, you can see this is one single chamber of your Otto Hoffmann's oven. So it consists of number of narrow rectangular chambers made up of silica bricks. Again, that also has a height, width and all. And it has removable doors at both the ends. I hope you can see there are 2 removable doors. Okay. So, and the flue gas is, the composition of the flue gas is this. Okay, so at one area your coal is supplied, and here that coking process happens, and again it is happening again and again. That's why I said it is very important for heat economy, because it is a regenerative principle. The principle used is a regenerative principle. Okay, so coal is fed into the chamber, and the temperature is maintained around 1200 Celsius by burning gaseous fuel. So again, here you need fuels. In the previous case, we didn't supply any external fuel. Here we need to supply gaseous fuel, and the process of carbonization takes place layer by layer in the coal charge. Okay, so here there are different layers, and in each layer your carbonization takes place. And yeah, the coal which is adjacent to the oven walls gets heated. A plastic zone is formed. Okay, as it gets heated up, a plastic zone will be formed near the doors. Okay, and what will happen? The plastic zone will move away from the wall towards the central zone. So this is a repetitive process. A plastic zone will be formed, and then it will come towards the central part. As the coal is converted into coke, there will be a decrease in volume, right? As the coal is converted into coke, because all your volatile matter will be removed in the form of tar and gas. So at very high temperature, the plastic mass will solidify into hard and porous mass, that is your coke. Got it? Yeah. So, and as I told you, it's the regenerative principle that is used and that is very essential for your economical heating. And regenerators are built underneath the ovens. Okay, and that regenerators work on the principle of alternate heating and cooling cycles. It follows a alternate heating and cooling cycles. And carbonization of the coal takes place around 11 to 18 hours, maybe one day, and maybe one day, not one day also, 18 hours. After the process is complete, the red hot coke is pushed outside by means of a ram. Okay, and you push off all your coke, And the coke, where will it go? What's the next stage? Quenching. I told you, right? Because, you send it to the water. Coke falls into a quenching car, and the yield obtained from the starting material is around 75%. Okay, and very, very important is the process name itself is known as byproduct oven. Why? Because we can recover all the byproducts. If you can see in each stage, from the coke oven gas, when you supply liquor ammonia, what I get is ammonia. And see, it's sprayed, water is sprayed, I get ammonium hydroxide. In the third area, water is sprayed at a low temperature, I get naphthalene. Wash oil, light oil is obtained. And here also, when iron oxides are supplied, I get purified gas. Okay, so various reaction. Maybe the next slide we'll see the so you can recover tar, you can recover ammonia, you can recover naphthalene, benzol, H2S. So these are the various reactions by which H2S and other compounds can be recovered. Yeah. The next thing about your coal is converted into pulverized coal. Coal is converted into pulverized. Yeah, what is this pulverized coal? If you can see in the picture, it is the powdered form of coal. So what is its nature and what is its application? If you see, it's a non-smoking form of coal, and it is a coal free from ash. You don't have any impurities, and this coal is broken into finer particles, very fine particles. Okay, and therefore it burns for a long time. It can burn for a long time. So energy efficient coal. And we know that coal is a black sedimentary rock, but when that coal is grounded or broken into fine particles using a device called coal mills. You would have seen oil mills. You also would have seen that rice mills, right? We go and crush our rice particles. So similarly, we have coal mills where the coal is powdered to get this pulverized coal. And apart from electricity, for the generation of electricity and lot of energy related applications, it is also used in cosmetics. Your pulverized coal is used in cosmetics, and the size is very, very fine, about 0.08 millimeter. Okay, most of them will pass through the mesh, so you can see how fine it is. And yeah, it could it is behaving like a liquid if air is blown upwards. Just an illustration, but just imagine how fine the size is. And the equipment is very expensive, and majorly this kind of coal is used for thermal power station, because it is economically very, very you can't afford it in a small scale. And what are the disadvantages and advantage of pulverized coal? Yeah, as we saw, and when we see the property, we know that it can increase the efficiency of the boiler. It makes the use of wide variety. You can use it in various areas. It reduces time of raising temperature of steam. Combustion of pulverized coal can be adopted to automatic control. Okay, large amount of heat is released, and therefore you can use it for stoke firing system. Okay, so you have a lot of application. Disadvantages, as you saw the fine size, therefore you can spread that in the environment, so that will be a biggest concern. And as I told you, the equipment itself will cost a lot, so we can't set it up for a normal case, only if it is for a thermal power station. For such areas, they use this pulverized coal. So, and 40% of the ash passes up through the chimney and it spreads in the surroundings. So you can understand the environmental hazard it can cause. And yeah, precipitate. You obtain the ash as a precipitate. Possibility of explosion, yes, that is there. And the storage of powdered coal requires special attention. No, it should not spread and it should not burn. So there are a lot of care should be taken in the case of pulverized coal. Okay, but it has a wide variety of applications. So class, hope you have learnt a lot today about coal, how it is getting converted into coke, which is a usable form, and finally it can be used as a starting material for the manufacture of steel. And how do you convert it? By the process called carbonization, that is heating coal in the absence of air. Again, there are two types of carbonization, low temperature and high temperature, and there are various ovens used for carbonization. Under that we saw beehive oven and Otto Hoffmann's oven, otherwise known as byproduct oven. We also saw how we obtain so many byproducts and what are the reactions by which we can segregate them, right? And then we saw the second form of coal, that is pulverized coal, which is a very usable form in the case of energy and also common applications, cosmetics. And no, and how is it produced? By means of coal mills. And finally the advantage and disadvantage of pulverized coal. So hope you all enjoyed. So you should have learnt a lot today, and definitely whenever you see the long train that is carrying this pulverized form of coal, you should remember what we have studied. Okay class, thank you. Hope you had a great day. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.